Welcome back. Thanks for staying with me. We're on the second half of today's stories on World News. I'm Randolf Jamias. An awarding moment heads our stories. A British and a Japanese scientist won the Nobel Prize for Medicine on Monday for work on creating stem cells, opening the door to new methods to diagnose and treat diseases. Britain's John Gurdon and Japan's Shinya Yamanaka equally shared the prize of $1.2 million. Goran Hansson, the secretary of the Nobel Committee that awards the prize, announced. According to the committee, Gurdon and Yamanaka's groundbreaking discoveries had completely changed the view of the development and specialization of cells. The discovery offered a new way to create stem cells with the ability to become different types of tissue by effectively turning back the clock on adult cells, restoring them to a so-called pluripotent state. The practical result can be that skin cells can be obtained from ill people to find out more about their diseases and develop new therapies.
The Nobel Assembly at Karolinska Institute has today decided to award the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine 2012 jointly to John B. Gurdon and Shinya Yamanaka for the discovery that mature cells can be reprogrammed to become pluripotent.
Medicine is the first of the Nobel Prizes awards each year. Prizes for achievements in science, literature, and peace were first awarded in 1901 in accordance with the will of dynamite inventor and businessman Alfred Nobel. Next up, NASA's Mars Curiosity rover performs another first in its ongoing mission on the Red Planet. Sunday, the six-wheeled robotic explorer collected its first scoop of material from the surface of Mars. The video shows the sandy substance collected shifting in the robot's scoop as Curiosity vibrates what it has collected. NASA says the scoop was vibrated to discard any overfill and allow scientists on Earth to view some of the characteristics of the material which was collected. Scientific instruments will soon analyze the consistency of the substances collected. The scoop is 1.8 inches wide, 2.8 inches long. Meanwhile, Swedish researchers have produced a crash test dummy to represent the average female in a bid to reduce the numbers of women receiving whiplash injuries in road accidents. According to a recent Swedish study, women are twice as likely as men to suffer such injuries when hit from behind. But the standard crash test dummy is almost exclusively based on the average male. Jim Jury has more.
It's a crash test dummy with a difference. This one's female, which is rare, and its creator hopes it will help reduce whiplash injuries in women. The term whiplash describes a range of neck injuries caused by a sudden distortion. Sufferers can endure long-lasting pain. A recent study by Swedish insurance company Folksam suggests women are at double the risk of suffering the condition as men. Yet safety tests tend to use dummies based on the average male. Anna Carlson of Gothenburg's Chalmers University of Technology wants that to change.
What we've done now is develop a dummy that's the size of an average woman, which also moves in a crash situation with the impact coming from behind.
Before producing her model, she tested women in a rigged-up car seat at low speeds. Most whiplash injuries occur at speeds of below 25 kilometers an hour. She conducted similar trials on men. Her investigation revealed distinct differences.
We've seen, for example, that the back of a seat doesn't flex as much for the woman, which means she'll start moving forward quicker and have a more rapid acceleration in that direction.
After analysing initial results, Carlson's team produced a computational model called Everid to establish the average body type of a female. They then took a real crash test dummy based on the male form and adapted it accordingly.
What we've done here, as you can see, is to cut off arms and legs. We've shortened them and carved out some of the interior to decrease the weight. Then we've pieced her back together. We've also shortened the spine and made the torso smaller and lighter. We've peeled off the rubber front of the head to reduce the weight.
Comparing both dummies in tests, the female model demonstrated higher acceleration and quicker motion when hit from behind. Carlson says this suggests women have greater motion in their spines than men, as well as different sized and angled vertebrae. Part funded by European Union project ADSEAT, Carlson's dummy is still in the prototype stage. An improved version is planned. Carlson hopes to persuade car makers to incorporate the average body size of both sexes into their safety systems before producing all new vehicles.
Let's head to Singapore now. Researchers in the country have developed an empathetic robotic polar bear to serve as a companion for the elderly. The robot can read and respond to human emotions and has become a welcome guest at one Singapore elderly care facility. Rob Muir reports.
The residents at Singapore's Villa Francis Home for the Aged are smiling more than usual these days. They have a new companion, a polar bear who responds to stimulus just as a pet might. Joan Hoffner loves him.
Then you stroke him, talk to him. He answers when he wants to.
The polar bear was created by Tan Yao Ki, a robotic scientist. He's equipped the bear with a webcam on its forehead through which it can read smiles, frowns and other emotions. And it can respond to those visual cues and to physical ones, like stroking, through microphones placed under its fur. Tan says he designed a robot for the elderly because of Singapore's ageing population and policies that ban pets from elder care facilities.
An institute like hospital might not allow pets to be inside there, and some of the people who have asthma or allergic to pets, they are unable to, interact with the real pet.
And your mama's
And here, interaction is all important, according to physiotherapist Janaki Priya.
They really need a companion, who could just be with them, just listen to them, and just give a few expressions here and there. They really don't need to be so interactive, because some of them, with their impairments, they may not be able to understand, like even as humans, what we are trying to tell them.
But she says they do understand the bear, and the bear seems to understand them. So much so that Tan Yao Ki now wants to develop it further for other facilities like children's hospitals, or wherever there's a need for the bare essentials of companionship.
And in Argentina, thousands of River Plate Football Club fans filled the streets of Buenos Aires on Monday to carry what they hope will prove to be the world's biggest flag. Measuring almost 5 miles, organizers said the flag would be entered into the Guinness Record Book. River Plate fans started their march in the streets of Palermo in the northeast of Buenos Aires, carrying the giant flag to the club's stadium, Estadio Monumental. The organizer said more than 20,000 people helped to carry the flag through the streets of the Argentinian capital to the stadium. And in sports, let's head to Italy. More than 5,500 competitors, some wearing vintage cycling jerseys and riding old bicycles, took part in La Eroica, a retro cycling race through the Stris Bianche, the grave roads of the Chianti area of Tuscany. Although the racer bikes are old school, the fun, physical demand, and thrill are the same all the way from start to finish. Some refreshment and snack are served to refuel the energy of the riders. Mishaps also happen on the road, like flat tires and fatigue, but in the end, the effort all worth it when the cyclists had their share of victory and glory. For our final story, Britain's Katie Hevison powered the way on the run to win her first ITU Triathlon World Cup event in Cancun, Mexico on Sunday, with American Caitlin Shiver and Lisa Parter of Austria crossing the line second and third. Bermuda's Flora Duffy made the ideal start to the race to lead the swim from local hope Claudia Rivas. Canada's Kathy Tremblay bolted out early with Shiver and Duffy on their tail, but Hevison timed her run to perfection, and by the end of the first of 2 laps had gained an unbeatable advantage. Shiver and Tremblay followed Hevison, but Duffy fell behind in the tropical weather. Contrastingly, Perterer handled the heat well, pulling even with Tremblay after the first lap. But Harrison was not to be denied emphatically, jumping steering her return to triathlon from duathlon. She returned on the speed in the final meters to take second in 1 hour 54, out sprinting the Canadian for the bronze in 1 hour 56. It was Shiver's first podium finish in a World Cup event, with Perter claiming her second bronze in an ITU race as an elite competitor. That's all we have for today. Stay tuned for the local news. I'll see you again next time.